9 inches. All right, perfect. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome into another UCF Jaguar live stream, man. Give some shouts to everyone in here, man. It is a Wednesday night, action-packed Wednesday night, man. We have some Trevor Lawrence news about a new quarterback one. We also have a little bit of a game to talk about. 2 days ago, feels like a long time ago, but it did happen. And then the bad thing, the Travis Etienne news about him being out for the season, which sucks. So get some shout-outs, man. Robert, what's going on, man? First comment. He says, let's go. What's up, Prince? That dude, Evan, always showing out, man. What's up, Ghost Biggs 904? Sea Breacher in the building. What's going on, my man? Jags for life. I love it, man. J-Man, what's going on, my man? Jags for life. My guy says 9. Yeah, sorry, I didn't know the stream started yet. But all right, guys. I do have a special guest with me. You know, I see he's already in the chat with the Noti Gang sign. I got to bring in my guy, Jason from Jaguars United. What's up, man?
What's up, dude? I was wondering why earlier you texted me. You were like, what's the normal size for a guy's, like, you know, junk? And I was like, that's a weird question to ask, but it all makes sense now.
Oh, is that what people? No, I was measuring the length from the seat up to the desk. Oh, I could see how that guy could get confused, but you know,
it's all good, bro. It's all good,
dude. So what is going on, man? What's your reaction to today's news that Trevor Lawrence is the QB1 now?
Man, I'm blown away, man. Who'd have seen it coming, man? Who would have known that Urban finally pulls the trigger? You know,
I don't know. What about the insider? It's all about the insider, man.
The insider's not having a good day today, that's for sure. But now it looks like he's fighting off CJ Beathard for that spot. Yeah, well, that's gonna be a battle
he said that now the backup quarterback spot is up for grabs. I'm like, dude, this man just went in a QB1 battle to a QB2 battle.
Bro, he's all about competition at every single position. But after last game, it's hard not to say the things he said. I mean, Beathard played a lot better than Minshew. Lawrence played a lot better than Minshew. Minshew kind of forced his hand there. So, I mean, Minshew had the chance, man. You can't – it's not one of these situations where you, you know, didn't get a shot. You know, he got the shot this year. He just didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't even like Trevor Lawrence, the competition was all that, like, tough. Like, in the games, just Minshew wasn't really effective at all. And, like, Minshew, you know, almost played himself out of it in some respects. And, you know, I mean, we could have all seen this coming, and we're just all happy it was finally made official because they're mostly worried about, okay, like we're getting up to the season now. I think we're like 19 days away at this point, so it's like, okay, it's kind of time to you know, give a guy all first string reps and kind of stop with this little, you know, competition that everybody knows from a mile away. There's nothing going on.
I mean, just looking at the two guys, I mean, one looks like a quarterback and one doesn't. I mean, I don't have to see them play or throw. You know, I was hoping that, you know, Minshew would have some sort of magic. I think we were all kind of expecting Minshew to come into that Saints game and like lead the team on a couple of touchdown drives and to spark all this controversy, but Minshew did nothing. So I liked the way Trevor looked in the pocket. That offensive line was just horrible and gave him no help at all.
Yeah, and that was just, I mean, that was tough to see. I mean, the offensive line, I mean, granted, like right now we're missing like 3 out of 5 of the starters out there. And, you know, a lot of those guys struggled. Like, you know, Walker Little is definitely not ready yet. I mean, he was just getting pushed back. And, you know, you also look at Ben Barchman, he's going into his second year and he's still kind of struggling a little bit, which is worrisome. But I mean, I think the big thing, like Jawan Taylor is just, man, he's just not playing well. Like he's trying to like lean into guys and guys are easily getting around the edge. He's getting like off balance. It's hard. It's hard to watch and it really sucks right now.
None of the guys are winning one-on-ones up front. I mean, I went back and watched the first half of the Saints game.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that stood out to me about the offensive line was like they could not win one-on-ones.
Yeah,
like,
and there was
combo
one thing
blocking when Taylor, you know, and Can could block someone together, or when Shatley and Barch could, you know, combo block, they're fine. It just comes like whenever a team brings pressure and you're a hat for a hat, this offensive line just falls apart. And Walker Little got pushed around a little bit for sure. I mean, you could definitely tell. I always say there's a big learning curve for offensive linemen. I mean, I originally said I see Walker Little starting around week 9 or 10. So, and I'm with that there. I mean, he looked like he might have played himself into an earlier position, but Yeah, I mean, you could tell the strength of the NFL bull rush definitely is something he's going to have to get used to. I'm not worried about his technique. I'm not worried about his awareness. It's just, getting stronger and getting bigger. And, I'm not worried about Walker Little at all. But yeah, I mean, there's one-on-one matchups. I mean, when you spread the team out in 4 wide receivers and 5 wide receivers, you got to be able to, whether it's Trevor running a power or it's, you run a inside zone with Robinson, you have to be able to run out of shotgun. You have to be able to create lanes, and the offensive line just wasn't unable to create lanes, which is really sad to see.
Yeah, and I actually rewatched the first half before this stream, and like there was this plays with the offensive line, like there would literally be like 4 guys rushing, and then like 3 guys going one-on-one. Walker Little would get beat. Ben Barch would get beat. Jawan Taylor would get beat, and then it's just a convergence in the backfield. It's like, dude, like a lot of these the one-on-one and the thing is, you look at it and Walker Little shouldn't be playing, and then Ben Barch shouldn't be playing, and then Jawan Taylor is just the worrisome guy. It almost seems like we need to kind of we need to give Walker Little a lot of reps at right tackle and kind of put Jawan Taylor kind of at on watch. Of course, it's kind of hard to be. We need to just, I guess, get Walker Little, and he has been used, kind of practicing to this, but kind of getting him used as like a swing tackle. And I mean, it's disappointing because I really thought Jawan Taylor, and I didn't really mention him a lot in the offseason just because I was like, okay, had a bad year, but he'll come back. But man, it just hasn't been like that.
Yeah, I think we all were hoping for him to make that next step, but man, they got some problems on the offensive line. That's for sure. I mean, there's not much you can say about it. We talked about it all offseason. We thought they were going to have problems on the offensive line, and here we are having problems on the offensive line. So
yeah,
hopefully we can fix it.
Steve Boston with the $10 donation. Thanks so much, Steve. He says, "What's up, guys? Well, now next year we need to do as the Browns and Colts next year in the offseason and draft, invest in O-line. And I write several key guys are free agents next year." I mean, yeah, that's going to be we're going to have to throw some bank at some guys. I mean, and, of course, work on this O-line. I mean, it's been the same exact starting O-line the last 2 seasons, and, not a lot of movement. We haven't invested a lot of high-end draft capital. We have a couple of second-round picks. But other than that, I mean, you paid Norwell, A.J. Cannon, Brandon Linder are on their second contracts, and both those guys were 3rd-round picks. So, yeah, I mean, the trenches have to be built, and at this point, it's like, man, you kind of wish we did a little bit more there.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, including myself, were looking at that 25th pick as a spot to address the offensive line there. Maybe go after a tackle or an interior lineman. Maybe they, had a high grade on Walker Little and, had a 1st-round grade on him. And maybe he will still end up being a 1st-round grade. Like, I don't know, but it's just they have a lot of issues there. It's not just a tackle. Like, I'm not really trust Can. Linder is always hurt. Like, there's a lot of issues there. And for a group of guys that have played so much football together, you think they would be better. Like, these guys have been playing together for like a number of years now. These aren't a bunch of like random people that were thrown into the mix. Like, these guys all know each other. So, yeah, I'm definitely concerned about the offensive line. I saw a bunch of, they did a bunch of like 2 tight end sets with just 2 receivers running routes. They would have Manhurts in there, and they would have O'Shaughnessy in there, 2 tight ends, max protection, just running 2 guys out on routes. And like, Trevor still didn't have enough time for them to run their routes. So they got to figure out something to give Trevor time, or he's just going to be rolling out every play or, moving. And that's not really ideal for a high completion percentage.
Yeah. And when I look at the Jaguars, man, I mean, really the biggest thing that stands out to me isn't necessarily that there's bad coaching, but we're just like super young right now.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of young guys that are kind of, those are the growing pains we had to go through. I mean, Walker Little, I mean, we obviously know the measurables and everything, but, him going against Davenport, like a seasoned vet in there. I mean, it's, he's got a lot of years on him. And then, he's got to kind of catch up to that. Also, like, Tyson Campbell, this game, he let up a touchdown pass where it's like, dude, like if he can just, get focused on the ball and like have a little bit better ball skills and understand where it is instead of just like literally setting a pick on Shaquille Griffin. And that's one thing. I mean, like Tyson Campbell, he's a guy that, he has the tools, but it's almost like, can he use that and, become better? Because I always looked at the guy like Taven Bryan. I mean, Taven Bryan, when you look at him on film, I mean, he's like, when it comes to the defense line, he's the first guy pushing everybody back. But the football instincts aren't there, and he never just got adjusted to being able to pull off his guy and kind of go after the ball. And it's like with Tyson Campbell, is he going to be a guy that's always right on the hip of the like offensive player, but just doesn't learn really to locate the ball? Because I mean, man, if you're right on the hip of a guy, it's like a wide receiver that drops a lot of passes, that's great at route running. It's like, you're kind of missing the end goal, and it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I am not too pessimistic on Campbell. I think he can learn as he becomes a pro and a better player. I think he's going to learn to make plays on the ball. It's hard right now in the NFL. I mean, you see elite corners get beat all the time. Jalen Ramsey gets beat all the time. Like all these guys, Xavier Howard, he gets beat all the time. It's just, can you not get beat all the time? I mean, it's so hard nowadays as an NFL defensive back. You can't teach speed, and the guy is like you said, he's on the hip of every play. That play that they gave up in the end zone, that was a great throw and a great catch. And he came over from the opposite side of the field. He recognized what was happening, and he got there. He outran Shaq Griffin to the player, and he was on the backside of the play. I mean, that's how fast he is. So I like Campbell, and I think he's a good player. And while we're talking about corners, I thought C.J. Henderson played a really good game again. They didn't throw to his side. He was always on the hip of the receiver. C.J. Henderson's going to work his way in as the starter. So,
oh yeah.
I mean, I think we're okay once CJ kind of gets in there and does his thing. I'm excited for Campbell, and you're dogging on your boy Taven Bryan, but your boy Taven Bryan recognized the screen.
Oh, I know. He was the first here's your lollipop. Here's your lollipop, Taven. Here's your lollipop, Taven.
So he recognized it. So hey, I have the play. When I was breaking down the film, I always record a couple plays to show. I saved that one. I definitely saved that one.
Yeah. I mean, you had to. I mean, he's your guy, man. He's your guy.
Not my guy. I just
Shout out to Dylan. He says corners getting burnt was definitely concerning. Yeah, it was. I guess outside of C.J. Henderson, it wasn't a great day for the corners. I mean, what the hell happened to Sidney Jones, man? He was just. I mean, that little Jordan Humphrey just made him his bitch that game, man. I mean, he had like literally on the same drive, just two different plays to him where he not only like doesn't get any kind of pass breakup, but he just like literally slips the tackle. And I don't know, his effort was just not really there either. It was a horrible game by him. And then obviously Shaquille Griffin right off the bat allows another slant route on him. But then, you could be a little picky about that one touchdown pass along the sidelines to Callaway. A little bit of hand battling, but at the end of the day, he did get another touchdown catch on him.
I am probably most concerned about Shaq Griffin. He's kind of what I thought he was before we signed him. And then once we signed him, everyone kind of was telling me he's an elite corner. He's going to be our number one. And I was like, okay, maybe I just haven't watched enough of him yet. And he still may be that, but I haven't seen anything ever in his past that makes me think that he's like elite. Like, I mean, he's good, but especially the last two games. I mean, I watched DBs pretty intently, and he hasn't stopped a slant once. He can't stop out routes. He can't stop comeback routes. Like, I get it. And I was just saying, it's hard to be DB, but you got to stop something. I mean, it seemed like they were picking on him at certain parts of both games. So I don't know. I mean, I'm a little concerned about him, but I like our depth there.
I'll be honest, the position that I guess outside like the offensive line, obviously, but I'm a little bit concerned about the wide receiver room, man. Like I don't know. I mean, I didn't have the all 22, so I just kind of watched the ESPN replay. But man, it was like, I just don't know what's going on with the receivers. Is there not any separation going on? Like, everyone just seems kind of slow. Like, they're kind of force feeding Marvin Jones and Laviska Shenault the ball. But it's like, I know obviously DJ Chark is out right now, but man, like outside of those guys, like what do we have out there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually pretty quick to get on the receivers because I have been tough on the receivers the last, couple years. Chark not playing is huge. I mean, that draws so much attention from the eyes of safeties and corners and coverages. That's huge. It was partly they weren't getting open. I agree, but partly it was also because the pressure was getting to Lawrence before the route concepts could develop. Like, if you have a route concept designed to run two guys through the same zone, but it doesn't happen until 12 to 15 yards down the field, the offensive line has to be able to create time at least 3 seconds, and they're not creating 3 to 4 seconds. So That's the problem. I think more than they can't get open is that the offensive line is not creating enough time for them to run their route concepts. On top of that, yeah, like you said, they're running. They're such a vanilla offense right now. I'm out there watching them on like 3rd and 8 run all
God.
curls. I'm like, what is this? Is this Pop Warner? Like, what are we doing? Like, they're just such a watered down version of the offense they're probably going to run. Someone mentioned pre-snap motion in your chat. They haven't run any pre-snap motion. They're not going to run the zone read at all because they don't want Trevor to get hurt, but that's going to kill teams in the regular season. So there's a lot that they're not showing because that's the way these coaches are. They're like to be super sneaky and tactical, in my opinion.
But man, it's like, at this point, I think these guys need reps. But if I look at it and, we're going to have only 2, our 3 best starters out the next game on the offensive line. We're going to keep running this vanilla offense. Like, what is even the point of like just throwing Trevor Lawrence back there and making the offense just look putrid? You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a phrase I hear a lot is they need reps. And I get it, but do they really anymore?
I think they do. I think
back in the day when it was a huge adjustment between college and the NFL, you're coming from like a running offense, or a spread to under center, and you're reading different defenses. Like, yeah, I get it. You need reps, but nowadays they're running the same offense. They have the same teammates out there. Like, how many reps do they really need? I think sometimes that gets a little bit overblown.
Well, I think Trevor Lawrence needs reps. Like a big thing, like I don't think he's great in the pocket just yet because I don't think he's feeling pressure all that well because there are a couple times where I think he could have stepped up and kind of avoided some trouble. And I think, obviously a live pass rush where he has the risk of getting hit, I think that's going to help him as opposed to, in the middle of practice where, it's just things are a lot more systematic. That's kind of where I think. And then obviously just building the receivers or building, some kind of chemistry. And then like we don't have any joint practices. So it's like we're going against the same kind of guys. So I think it's good to see different looks and different defenders and just have some live game action.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And that definitely is there. And I think they're going to get that. But, I think a couple series would be enough for me.
Yeah. I want to get to this question real quick. David Bryan, thank you so much, man. $5 donation. Says we lost Etienne for the year. Happened to Dante Fowler in the past. We need a fresh new offensive line. Otherwise, T-Law's in for hurting. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, I mean, I know a lot of people are kind of talking. We need a new offensive line. We need protection. There's nothing going to come. I mean, this is what we got. You know what I mean? I mean, there's nothing that's, no team's going to surprise cut someone and they're on the waivers for the Jaguars to pick up. You know what I mean? This is what it is, and we're not going to be in a situation. I know a lot of people are saying, okay, let's let CJ Beathard play the year. We'll rest, Lawrence for a year and let, next year the new guy, when we get more offensive linemen then play Trevor Lawrence. It doesn't happen. That's just not like when the inevitable happens and Gardner Minshew and CJ Beathard look like backups and we say we need some kind of spark at quarterback. You're not going to not play Trevor Lawrence and just be like, yeah, I mean, we're just not super comfortable in the offensive line. Right guard AJ Cann, he sucks. Brandon Linder's always good. It's not an option. So, I mean, what this is, we're just going to have to throw it out there and just, pray to God nothing bad happens to Trevor.
I think what could give people some peace of mind, hopefully, is I really think when Trevor starts to run the ball, it's going to really slow down the pass rush. Like when he starts running the zone reads, when he starts running through like gaps between the B gap or the C gap and picking up 10, 12 yards, like a run, defensive linemen are going to be a little more tentative of just pinning their ears back like they are now. Additionally, when we have our full offensive line in there and we're running HB draws or inside zones with the running back, like that's going to slow down the D lineman a lot. Like this team has been in a lot of third and mediums and third and longs because we can't run the ball right now. And if we can run the ball, then we won't be in those positions where the D lineman can just sprint to the outside and they can bring in their speed edge rushers and their lightning packages and things like that. Like that really is hard on Trevor. So I think a normalcy of a regular season might make this offensive line a little more productive.
See, my thing is like, I don't think this offensive line is as bad as a lot of people think because, I mean, the thing is in 2019, Leonard Fournette rushed for 1,000 yards. 2020, James Robinson rushed for 1,000 yards. I mean, you don't do that behind really bad offensive lines. The thing is, like, not only are we injured, I mean, literally 3 out of our 5 starting offensive linemen didn't play last game, and the only 2 starters were our weakest players. You know what I mean? So, there's that. I mean, once, obviously, Brandon Linder has an injury history, but I mean, it's not like that's going to be our starting offensive line. I mean, we only had 40% of it. And I mean, these guys know how to run protect. Then honestly, Trevor Lawrence, once he gets into the mood of the game, because I know last game, obviously it was a struggle in the first quarter, but toward the end of the second quarter, once kind of he got in a rhythm of things, I mean, they were moving the chains. You know what I mean? I mean, it would have resulted in 2 field goals. But I don't know. I have a little bit more faith in the offensive line, I guess. And I mean, we're kind of not mentioning the fact that we had a bunch of injured guys out there.
Yeah, but I mean, look at what he did. Look at what Urban did his first year with the defense. He changed the entire. I mean, we're looking at like 8 new starters on the defense, something crazy like that,
and a whole new scheme.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I could see him doing defense this year, and then next year flips the entire offense. You got Trevor, you got Etienne. Then you bring in everyone else that you want, and he could do this in 2 years. He could have a totally different looking team, and all this conversation about these guys that we don't think are any good are going to be pointless.
Biggest says, "What are your with the $5 donation? Thank you so much, man." Says, "What's your thoughts on Urban so far, and do you think he can be our coach long term?" One thing that's like, this is one thing I hate about preseason. It's like big time overreaction season, and now I have like Jets fans coming at me saying, "Oh, we picked the better quarterback. Oh, it looks like Robert Saleh was the answer." It's like, dude, we're in week 2 of the preseason. I mean, I like Urban Meyer. I mean, the guy, obviously, he's ultra successful. I mean, I haven't liked the offensive play calling that we've been doing. And, obviously, he's kind of going to have a little bit of an adjustment. But, I mean, I think he can be our coach long term. I mean, the main thing that is just like, okay, does he want to be here long term? That's the whole thing.
Yeah, I got to stay off Twitter during games because
I do too.
It just seems like the whole fan base is like, God, every little thing that goes wrong, it's like Urban's the worst coach on earth. It's just like
Twitter they just like to be depressed
as a fan base, but
yeah. And I think a lot of times like we all grieve together, we all complain together, and I think we've almost become in that mode where it's like, all right, let's have fun and just like complain about the Jaguars. And it's not even Twitter, it's mostly like like I searched Jaguars on YouTube, and it's like, Get Up says very concerned about Trevor Lawrence. Colin Coward on the Herd, Trevor Lawrence looking suspect. And it's like, dude, I don't need that crap.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's the kind of stuff that's gonna drive me nuts. And it's the whole thing. I think like me, like if I wasn't covering the Jaguars like I do, maybe it'd be different. Maybe I could tune it out better. But since I'm trying to really stay up to date and informed on all the different stuff happening, it's like, oh my God, like it's just and obviously the guys that are going to get the headlines are the guys that have the outlandish takes and stuff like that. But man, it's just right now they were bashing Zach Wilson 2 weeks ago for having some bad practices. That now when he's sitting back there with good protection, open wide receivers, he's looking like the thing. It's like, oh my God, drives me nuts.
Yeah, it's back to Urban. I mean, I've been saying this, and everyone's heard me say this. I'm gonna trust Urban until he gives me a reason not to. Looking bad in 2 preseason games is not enough to concern me about him. It would take him. I mean, it would take us winning like 1 game this year for me to be the least bit concerned, because it's a process. I mean, no one comes in overnight and fixes a bad team, and it's never happened. It never will. It's like, not only were we a bad team, we were one of the worst ever. When we look at our run defense, we look at our production from the quarterback position, so people just need to be patient. I mean, he's a great coach, but you can't come in overnight and fix an NFL franchise that was that bad. So I think people should just pump the brakes on Urban a little bit, give him some time. The dude is really well respected amongst coaching circles. I know that doesn't always translate to being a good coach, but I got no problem with Urban right now.
I think right now, like, I think really in a training camp and in the, during this whole offseason, we got just our hopes so high for the Jaguars because like everything was super hype. But now I think they're bringing us back down. And honestly, like, when we think about like, when I look at guys in the media that actually really do respect, guys like in the national media, like Pete Prisco and Peter King, a lot of them are saying, look, 6 or 7 wins is a good year for the Jaguars, given like, the kind of players on their roster and, how young they are and all that stuff. But then the next year is kind of what's happening. And that's honestly, to me, in these preseason games, we look like a very young team, very inexperienced team, and probably, not a winning team. I mean, we don't look like a team that's going to go out there and contend for a playoff spot. And that's probably where we are right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that we don't have a lot of playmakers. I mean, people want Chark and Laviska to be that, but the rest of the league wouldn't look at them as that. So until we get a playmaker on offense that's not Trevor Lawrence, I think we were hoping Etienne was that. He still could be, but it's just not this year. So got to bring in some guys. Got to bring in some guys that can make plays. It's that simple. I know it's oversimplifying it, but got to bring in guys that can make plays.
The Etienne thing, man, it pisses me off a little bit because like, it wasn't like a situation where like, a player just dove at his knee and then like, his knee bangs the wrong way. But it was like, he kind of caught it and then it was like a no contact type of thing. So like, was this just like an injury waiting to happen? Or was this because I'm sitting here like really, this is how he's going to get injured is like this non-contact stuff where it's like his third time touching the ball. Like, I don't know. It was just a really annoying injury to me. And it's a horrible injury too.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if people know much about Lis Frank, but it's like a fractured bone inside your foot. And it's like it's a certain part of the foot that you really only use when you're putting weight on it. So a lot of times we actually got pretty lucky. A lot of times Lis Frank injuries go undetected for a little bit because they don't get picked up on your standard MRIs and things like that because it is a weight-bearing bone. So it's we're actually lucky that we caught it because not catching it has like ruined other football players' careers. So it's good that they caught it early. They got surgery and I know an orthopedist, I was talking to him about it, and he was telling me that surgery is super important to get done early and not like putting it off because the more you put it off, like the longer the recovery. So it is best case scenario for the type of injury that it was, but it just sucks to see, but I think he's young enough and they caught it early enough to where it won't affect him long term.
All right, well, that helps me. That helps me a lot. No, it does because everything I read, I don't have any orthopedic friends like you.
Oh, come on, yeah.
I don't have anybody, man. I don't got the connections. I'm not in the Tebow group text like you are. But I want to give a shout out Gator Chomp. He makes the point about Trevor is a great leader, honest, and has the tools to be a great QB. Just needs to build around that. One thing that I'm hoping to see out of Trevor Lawrence, not this year, maybe not even next year, but years down the line, is like, one thing that you hear that you see from like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady is that, they can be complete dicks to their teammates. You know what I mean? Like they will like tell their teammates off and really put them in his place. And I hope that's kind of a quality that Trevor Lawrence can attain later on. I hope he's just, because I don't know, something about him just feels like he's too nice of a guy. Like, he's like Bortles, just a really good dude where he's like, kind of going to feel like he's kind of overstepping himself with that. But I don't know. Do you think that would be something that he might pick up?
No, I don't think so. Trevor is a genuine guy. Who gets married before they get drafted? That's the type of guy that Trevor Lawrence is. That's all you need to know. He's that type of guy. Like he is he's all about relationships. He's a moral guy. He's all about bonds and connections with people. Trevor, I think Gator Chomp's spot on with Trevor. It was his leadership and honestly, like the way he composes himself was one of the reasons that I was so pumped about us getting him. Obviously, he's a great, talented quarterback and has the arm, one of the best arms. And I actually like his footwork in the pocket. I don't think, Tom Brady looks flustered when he's getting sacked. You know what I mean? So I think that I liked everything about Trevor Lawrence's game, but I do like his leadership almost the most out of all those things. Everyone that's ever met him or talked to him has had like nothing but good things to say about him. You don't hear him hating his family, like you said, Aaron Rodgers, or like, yelling at his teammates and things like that. So I don't think it's something he develops. And I think, I think we got a good one, and I think I'm right. I'm with Gator Chomp for sure.
Yeah. So, guys, I'm here right now with Jason from Jaguars United, man. I have his links down below in the chat. You guys probably already know who he is. And if this is your second, third, fourth time seeing him and you're not subscribed already, oh my God, what are you doing to yourself, man?
What are you doing?
His channel is an extension of my channel. We're like co-pilots in this together, man. Trying to dominate the game.
No, it is.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely go check him out. Also be sure to drop a like on the stream. So, it helps out the channel a little bit. It's all about the YouTube algorithm, man. So Dylan says, I subbed after the first one, bro. What a guy, man. What a guy. Lucas, I'm so sick of Doug M. We have to do better. Same speech every loss. Well, I mean, at least it's out of there. We don't have the I wonder what that has to be weird, man. Coaching a team in week 15, 16 when you're 1-15. What do you I wonder how you game plan. What do you say to the players out there?
Everybody wanted to fire Doug Marrone. It's no, dude. I'm not putting this dude on early vacation. If we're gonna lose and suffer, so is he. And I mean, at that point, what do you do? You're just collecting a paycheck at this point. I mean, you know that you're about to get fired. I guess there's worse positions in life. I mean, he's getting paid a lot of money. So, I mean,
oh man,
yeah. I don't hate Doug Marrone. I think Doug Marrone is a good person, and but yeah, not a great coach for us.
Yeah, he was given just a bad hand, man. He had to immediately report to Tom Coughlin. Then he had to be he was never given any quarterbacks. He had to answer to all the Jalen Ramsey drama and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, he did what I mean. He took us to the AC Championship game. I'll always love him for that. But I don't know what we're doing talking about Doug Marrone. But I guess we're that much wanting to avoid the whole conversation about the Jaguars. But I guess with this upcoming game, man, how long do you expect to see Trevor in a starting offense out there?
I don't know, man. I don't want to see him play at all, man. I thought he played too much last game. I mean, I know I already said it, but I just don't think these guys need that many reps. I think, he can learn in the regular season. I mean, week 1 and week 2 aren't going to make or break our season for the Super Bowl. So, I mean, is it really worth putting him out there in preseason? I mean, give him a drive, give him 2 drives, give Beathard a couple drives, give Minshew a couple. I mean, it makes no sense to me to continue to create chemistry with people that aren't going to be on your starting lineup. He doesn't need to create chemistry with Tyler Shatley and Philip Dorsett. He doesn't need to just hang out, watch the game from the sidelines, let the Jaguars defense play, get this, the defensive backs. Now that's a group that needs some chemistry work, right? So get them working together, and that's what I'm more interested in seeing in that game. Is the defense. I need the defense to gel for sure. I'd like to see Josh Allen play a play or two, but that's it. I'm kind of feeling the same way about him.
See, I'm kind of right there with you. I honestly, I mean, I would rather just not play Trevor Lawrence in a starting offense just because, look, if we're not going to be playing Brandon Linder and, and Andrew Norwell, but they're game ready, you know what I mean? I don't, and especially if we're going to keep calling these vanilla play calls that just only look like they hurt, the offense, hurt all the, and not only that, but just the energy around Jacksonville. It's sad. You know what I mean? Just being on Twitter in the last couple of days and, being who we are, where we just dedicate such a pretty big fraction of our free time, to covering and talking Jaguars and stuff like that. It's just, that kind of stuff is depressing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Shout out to Cameron. Says, love the UCF and Jason streams. Much love. Keep up the great content. Thank you, Cameron. We love you too, man. And we appreciate the support, my guy. Shout out to Steve Boston. Says T-Law 2, then let Beathard and Minshew go at it. Yeah, that's honestly I think they will play Trevor Lawrence in the starting, offense. I personally just wouldn't, just because I've I hated this form of secrecy that they've had with, it's not like we have a brand new offense coordinator. I think a lot of people know Darrell Bevel's tendencies. So I don't know. It's just, I know all these guys are paranoid and I can't really relate. So, I mean, that's what they're going to do. Then that's what they're going to do.
I saw Trevor take three too many hits last game that I was not cool with.
He took 3 or 4 in one hit.
Yeah, the one in the end zone, the one where he was fading away toward the sideline, and then the one where he scrambled to pick up the first down, where he literally got helicopter spun. I was like,
man.
no, get him out of the game.
It is funny because it's like a lot of people say, like, do you really want them like making that play? And it's like, no, I don't. But it's like a 3rd and 6. Like, what is he gonna do? Like, you know, he needs to move the offense. He needs to move the chains. Like, I mean, that's just a part of the game, man. If he's out there, he's gonna go take that.
He's not gonna be able. He's not gonna be able to turn it down. You know, he's that type of player. He's not
But
gonna be able to.
He did a pretty good job.
He couldn't do it.
I thought he did a pretty good job of putting himself in a position where he's not gonna like get super hurt, because he kind of like went up and then kind of protect his body a little bit. It's different if he like dives down, then he has players just crashing on top of him. So I got to give him some points for looking like he absorbed a hit pretty good.
Oh, he did. He took a clean shot in the end zone. It was a little late if you ask me, but
yeah, are you talking about the rollout left?
Yeah.
I was a little worried because like when he threw it, his hand hit. I think it was that Cameron Jordan or Davenport. Who was the player?
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah,
but like his hand like hit his helmet on a follow through. I was a little bit worried that like, you know, it might have been some swelling there.
I was like, calm down, guys. Like, and you notice on both zone read, like, so they ran an inside zone, and then he fake pulled it and fake ran once this game, and he did it once last game too. And both times he looked over the sideline, like, look how open I was. Like, everyone crashed down on the running back, and he would have ran for like 20 on both those plays. So.
Yeah, see, that's the stuff we're gonna be able to run during games, because I mean Trevor Lawrence can run, you know, get some of that stuff happening early, and I mean I think we're gonna be all right. And honestly, like, you know, we all look at these situations, and you know, we have a lot of young guys out there, and our quarterback's a rookie. You know what I mean? I know he's this, you know, generational guy, but obviously he's got the generational tools. He's not, you know, NFL quarterback right now. You know what I mean? So we'll give him some time. Shout out to Gator Chomp with a $5 donation. Says, would you be surprised if we drafted a wide receiver in the 1st or 2nd round? Also, thoughts on Taven Austin? No. I would not be surprised. I mean, literally, once the conclusion of the year, you know, once it's end of the year, that's top 2 biggest need. You know what I mean? Behind probably offensive line, you know, getting some help there. But I mean, because you look at it, DJ Chark's on a contract year. You know, Marvin Jones has 1 year left on his deal, and he's a 31-year-old man. And then, you know, he's still a Laviska Shenault, but obviously he's not like wide receiver 1. So yeah, I mean, that's going to be a huge emphasis. And I don't know if we're going to, you know, go after that in free agency. I mean, Devontae Adams, I doubt he's going to be available, but you know, maybe guys like Al Robinson might come back. I mean, we need, and the thing is, like, it seems like the wide receiver position is really evolving in the NFL. I mean, back in the day, it used to be the big dudes, like, you know, like the Randy Mosses and like the Julio Jones that dominated. But now, man, if you get these speedy, you know, good route running guys like Calvin Ridley, man, that almost seems like the sweet spot nowadays. So, you know, we have plenty of, you know, big, thick bodies right now. Like, I think, you know, we try to find somebody, you know, like that kind of skill set to maybe come in here.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a guy like Jalen Waddle, who seems like the perfect. I mean, he looks like he's going to go off in Miami this year. You would never have seen Devonta Smith get drafted, you know, where he did and historically because of how small he is. So you're right. I mean, the big wide receiver, there's still value, but it's not like it used to be, for sure. Des Bryant's and guys like that could just like take over games. You know, it's, you know, you talked about Chark. He plays bad. He's gone. Marvin Jones's contract's front loaded, so he could be gone next year. I mean, we wouldn't lose that much money if we cut him. So we're looking at potentially next year having just Laviska Shenault. So yeah, I would say wide receiver could definitely be an area of need, not just in the draft, but also, like you said, free agency. I do like Taven Austin though, but Taven Austin is what he is, and he's been in the league for a while. It's not like he's, you know, new. You know, he is what he is, and he's you know, he's okay. He gets the ball in space. He's okay in space. You know, it's just, can he get open? Can he run good routes? Can he catch the ball? Can he absorb hits? You know, all question marks he's had in the past.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Taven Austin. I mean, every NFL team had a chance to get him, and, you know, they didn't. I mean, you know, maybe Taven Austin now with the, you know, injury of Etienne, you know, maybe he can kind of fill out some, you know, similar type of roles as him. But I mean, obviously, there's going to be no replacing Etienne. I mean, number 25 overall pick, extremely fast, and young guy. Obviously, not much mileage on him when it comes to NFL stuff. So I don't know. I mean, he that probably maybe helped out his chance of making a roster. But I don't know. And honestly, I really hate that he's the number 34. He just looks like a super undersized running back. That's like the weirdest number for a wide receiver now, to be in the number 30s.
I saw your tweet and I was like, yeah, I agree with that. It reminds me of Alvin Pierman. Remember Alvin Pierman wearing number 34? That's what I think of every time.
I mean, he literally reminds me of like just a super undersized running back out there, but it's like, no, this guy's actually a wide receiver. And like, there's that guy, Cotton. I think he's number like 35 or something like that as a receiver. I'm like, dude, this is not right.
Yeah, I like him. He's a guy that might get a shot with another team after he gets cut from us.
And then there's also right now there's tight ends out there, like this tight end for the Jets. He was like number 18. I'm like, dude, this is like, I like the single digit number stuff, but now this double digit number stuff is really throwing me off.
I really like seeing Rayshon Jenkins in single digits.
Yeah, I like the single digits.
Yeah,
I think that's cool, but I don't know this whole cross these wide receivers with 30s, tight ends with like high teen numbers. It's weird.
It's definitely getting used to, for sure. Watching film, you're like, who is this again? Like, you don't know who's who anymore. So you have to really. It's weird seeing Smoot in 91. That's still throwing me off, but I'll get the hang of it.
I'm liking Smoot, man. He's out there. He's starting to make some plays out there, man. Like, he's pretty relentless. I
think he's a 6 to 7 sack a year guy, and that's very valuable, and that's good. But I think that's what he is. He gets a lot of cleanup sacks. Has a high motor. Yeah, you're right though. I mean, I like him too. It's taken him a little bit to come around, but I think he's he's the last 2 years. I think he's averaged 6.5, 7 sacks. So I think that's about where he'll be again this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, we need, and that's the thing, man. Like, I mean, I've been really impressed with our run defense, but I'm just worried. Like, are we going to get to the passer? Like, are we going to be able to get to the passer? I do like a lot of stuff that the defense coordinator is doing when it comes to like, I mean, it's interesting because we're seeing guys like Cisco out there blitzing, but then we're also seeing like Dewan Smoot dropping back in coverage. So it's like, some of it's going to take some getting used to, because it's just so much different than what we've been seeing. But I mean, it just seems like right now the defense is not playing vanilla. Our offense is, on the other hand. So I'm really excited to see what this defense does when, really given, 100% opportunity.
I mean, I thought our defense played well on third down, on third and medium and third and long. I think our defense played. I think all of our sacks were on third and long. So I mean, we, which is typical, but you get a different mentality out of those guys on third down. We brought a lot of pressure on that play that Jameis dropped it in on the sidelines, the second touchdown. That was, a one-handed catch by Callaway. We brought almost everybody, and the Saints picked it up pretty well. Jameis 3-step drop, lobbed the ball in the air and dropped it right into the perfect spot. So bringing pressure doesn't mean anything if your back end can't cover one-on-one, unfortunately. So hopefully we can clean that up, because it won't matter what pressure we bring if they can, just throw it out to the receiver and they get it. So that's going to be an area of concern for me.
And how are you feeling about right now the Mike linebacker, Wilson? What was his name?
Yeah, Damian Wilson.
Yeah. I know it was like I was thinking Darius in my head.
Yeah, I like him. I mean, God, another guy that just kind of is what he is. I mean, I like him. I like him going north and south. I like him coming downhill. I like him getting after the passer, filling gaps. But moving east and west, whether it be scraping through gaps, getting a runner bouncing to the outside, or covering in the flats, or a one-on-one against a receiver that runs an out or a drag. I mean, he is what he is. I don't necessarily think he's great in coverage. I actually think he's a liability in coverage. But he's a lot cheaper than Schobert, and I think he doesn't give you much of a drop off. So I think that's kind of where Urban was thinking.
There's definitely, if you watch the linebackers, it seems like a drop off between Miles Jack and Wilson, because like it seems like Miles Jack gets to where he needs to get quicker. It looks like he even understands where to be even better than, because sometimes I see kind of Damian Wilson, like he's kind of getting, bit on the play action, and he's kind of like overstepping Miles. So I don't know. I mean, it's like you said, I mean, cheaper than Joe Schobert. That was a salary dump. A lot of people were like, all right, did we get Eric Ebron? I mean, I knew right away. I was like, this is just a salary dump. I mean, you're not getting a Joe Schobert second year on a, fourth round rookie contract. Like, you're getting a guy that you're trading for that contract. And, I mean, we'll see with later on if Shaq Quarterman or anything puts himself into any kind of starting lineup for us. But nobody important 93 says, any chance of us snagging an offensive line for T-Law? Thank you for the donation, man. I mean, there's a chance. I mean, I think we're going to be playing around with waivers a little bit, but we're not going to find a starter on waivers. You know what I mean? What we have is what we have.
Yeah, unfortunately, this time of the year, that type of thing doesn't happen. I mean, unless you're in playoff contention and you're one piece away, which I don't see us being in that position this year. So, like you said earlier, not a horrible offensive line, especially when it comes to run blocking when they're all healthy and they're all out there. But yeah, pass protection seems like they have some left to be desired. I mean, Carlos Hyde was horrible.
Oh, he was so bad. Yeah, he was horrible picking out a blitz. I'm like, what are you doing?
And I mean, that kills your quarterback. That kills. I mean, those little things. I mean, you're like I talked about earlier. The tight ends not being able to combo block, and they can't double team a DN. The dude slips between O'Shaughnessy and Manhurts. Like, that kills your quarterback, and that destroys the scheme, and that destroys the play. And like, there's bigger issues than just offensive line. It's we're not working together. We're not running the play like it's being called. We're not winning one-on-one matchups along the front. And until we do, then we're always going to be in this position of having to, another thing, we haven't really thrown a lot of screens and quick, which I think Trevor will do when the season starts. And, that'll kind of soften up the off. I said some stuff earlier. If you just got here, go back there. I do think that the pass rush will get softened up when we start running with Trevor and when we have all our healthy guys and Chark back and all that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I just see James Robinson getting a lot of rest because, man, like, not only is he the best runner on the team right now, and he's so much better than Carlos Hyde, but he's just so much better in blitz pickup. I mean, Carlos Hyde was pathetic when it comes to pick blitz up last game. It was like he was just like running into the back of linemen and just letting other players just come through. I'm like, dude, like, you're a veteran, man. This should be like secondhand nature to you. Like, your issue should be you're losing a step in your speed and, maybe can't cut as well. But, dude, you're like, if you're not picking out the blitz, like, what's the use of having you? Like, just throw Darren Agubawale out there and, he'd be doing just as well.
Well, I mean, I think you might see him a little bit. I might see him in the short passing game and things like that. I mean, I think they do bring it back. I mean, if you put on the R, you usually bring one in. So interested to see what happens there. Hopefully they bring in a guy. Someone in their chat said LaShawn McCoy. I don't know if that's I'd rather get a younger guy. But you're probably gonna add somebody.
Yeah. Shout out to JL Sports with a $2 donation. Yo, hope to see you week 3, man. And I'm winning first place. I think he's talking about this fantasy football league. Yeah, man. I don't know if I'll be at the week 3 game yet. I mean, I'll just have to see. I mean, nowadays it's like, dude, like, I'm a soft person now. I've turned into a soft person as I've gotten older. Put a freaking lid on this stadium, man. It is so goddamn hot at these games now, man. And I'm becoming a bitter old man, and I'm just like, what the hell?
It's funny how when you're young, like, you don't notice it at all. Like, you're just like oblivious to the heat. And then now you're just like, I am dying out here. Like, so it's crazy. I mean, gosh, I remember the Titans game last year or 2 years ago. So hot. I thought I was going to die. Just drinking Pedialyte and water mixed. I was like, put a freaking tent over this thing or something. Come on, Con.
I mean, I used to embrace it. Like, I think like first game of 2016, we were playing the Packers. I'm like, all right, like, it's gonna be so hot. It's gonna be such a competitive advantage, and then we lose. And then like a year or two later, we play Kansas City Chiefs at home. All right, like, they're not used to this heat, and we just get like torched. I'm sitting here like, you know what? I don't, just it's too damn hot.
Dude, I remember at that Packers game in 2016, I was there too. The vendors at the stadium, they ran out of water. They were
Oh
out of
man.
water. Like you had to buy Gatorade because there was no water anywhere in the stadium. It was
Dude, and Gatorade, I mean, it's so sugary. Like you need,
it's the only option.
yeah, you need like water, man. That's dangerous, man. If you have a stadium without water, like how do you get that under prepared?
That was probably, I mean, the hottest game I've ever been to. Like that
Yeah.
was crazy.
Yeah, and you legit have people like passing out all over the place. Like, I mean, they have to have medical on staff because like there's guaranteed. Okay, there's probably gonna be 5 people pass out this game, and and I'm honestly like the thing is if I don't go to games, like I'm very blessed because I can literally live stream it and kind of watch with everybody. So the channel gives me incentive to take a step back a little bit because if I don't go to a game, there's like hundreds of people disappointed because not going to be live broadcasting game and watching with them. So, it's a, kind of 50-50 payoff.
I get the worst FOMO when I'm not at the stadium, man. It just kills me, man. I see like people's posts and like pictures, and I just like it eats me on the inside. So it's just not worth it for me not to go just because the FOMO is so bad. And I know it's not good, but it is, I've learned to accept it.
I mean, it killed me like back in 2018 because I went to the Giants game week 1 in New York. Obviously, won that game, but it was cool. And the next week, we were playing the Patriots at like 4:30 on a Sunday. And like, usually I can't go to I usually don't go to 4:30 games because living in Orlando, it's like, I don't get home till like super late. So I'm like, you know what? Like, I'll wait to go to a 1 o'clock game. But man, that Patriots game was an all-timer. You know what I mean? I mean, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I was at the Seattle game. I could not imagine not going to that. I was at the playoff game against the Bills, and I feel like of any game I really feel like I missed, it was that Patriots game.
I was going to mention that with the Packers as like one of the hottest games ever.
Yeah, that was right after a hurricane, and they after hurricanes, like there's no clouds and there's no wind. It's so still, so it's bad.
We were both at that Broncos game with Minshew too. Don't forget about that one.
No,
that was a great game. That was quite the game too.
That was quite the game. I mean, Minshew. That was his career game. You know what I mean? If we think about like Minshew's, career moments and like his most exciting game, that was definitely it.
Oh, it was great. I was so glad I was there.
I remember I felt stupid at first because like the Jaguars were kind of getting whooped, and I'm like, dude, like I feel so because like I went to the Kansas City Chiefs game in 2018. 2018 was it? Yeah, it was 2018. And the Jaguars just got destroyed. And like going like all the way to Kansas City just to watch your team get destroyed, you feel like the stupidest person in the world. It's like, why am I here? But when you win at an away game, it is like the greatest feeling. Like you feel so accomplished, and the fact that you get to walk out of there a winner while all these other people are just pissed off. It's an amazing feeling.
Oh, the Duval chants on the way out of the Broncos stadium. I mean, I was like seeing fights left and right. I was like, oh, I'm not getting involved in any of this.
And like, dude, like watching these like tapes come out of these people getting in fights, like I'm just so worried I'm gonna like get my ass beat at one of these games because I talk so much shit, and then like, I mean, probably too much shit like at these away things, and like I've gone at it with people like yelling back and forth type of stuff. Oh, I just gotta watch myself, like I really do.
I'm a lover, not a fighter in my old age.
But it's just so much fun just trolling, and like at the Bronco game, I was like, after Lambeau kicked the game-winning field goal, this guy they've been talking shit to the whole game, like he like walks in front of me, and I just yell, "This is our house. This is our," and he, oh my god, he was just like, it was so funny. It's just so funny trolling these people.
Freaking Lambeau. I mean, how about Rosas coming in and just like giving it to him and just nailing the field goal? I was like, oh, great.
Yeah, then Lambeau missed another one. It's like, dude, what's going on here?
Hey, Rosas is going to get cut by the Saints.
Yeah.
So,
well, he didn't miss a field goal. He missed an extra point that game. So it's not like he's completely in the clear.
Yeah, but he nailed that 50-yarder and Lambeau missed his. So
he did. It was a real kick in the nuts, man.
It really was.
But I don't know, like Lambeau, this has been a kind of a bad offseason for him, man. I mean, back-to-back games of missed field goals plus a little bit of struggles at camp, which isn't great. Matt Janika says, if you're going to get knocked out, stream it for us. Thanks. Oh man, you want to see me get knocked out? You should want me to knock out other people. That would be the better scenario.
you're holding the phone up and it just drops and the phone just drops to the ground.
Yeah, just like drops face up and you just hear like scuffling. Like some guy picks up the phone and like ends it. That would be funny. That'd be good entertainment, but it would suck to get on a plane with a broken jaw. Not that I know from experience, but I don't want to be about that.
You gotta be careful at away games, man. You gotta be careful.
What's called? Lucas says, "Nah, I'd super chat to see you get faded, bro. What is up? Come on, guys. I thought you guys liked me, man. What the hell's going on here?"
Well,
Aaron Berkshire, what's up, man? Dude, big Aaron. If you guys don't know him, man, you guys got to give him a follow on Instagram. He's basically like a photographer. Basically, he goes to all the Jaguar training camps and games and does a lot of photography there. Dude, he is sick with the camera, man. So definitely go give him a follow on Instagram. I think he has like 20,000 followers, but he's got some good shit, man. Definitely go get him, man.
Is it as good as my Instagram page? Because I've been told that mine's pretty good too. So
dude, yours is I almost feel like deactivating mine because I can't get up to your level, dude. Like yours is
if you want some tips, just let me know. I'd love to help you out sometime.
Like I don't know how you do these edits. It's almost like you find them on the internet somewhere. It's like
no, all original.
I mean, it's some original content. Yeah, if you guys aren't already following, Jaguars United on Instagram, it's I don't know what you're doing. I don't know how you haven't found it in the Explore tab yet. What's called? Versa says, "I'll be on stand to any of the games you go to UCF. We will have walkie-talkies to communicate. We'll whoop some. Yeah, we can coordinate some ass whoopings, dude. I like this. See, I like Versas, man. He's not out here, trying to watch me get my ass beat. I mean, he's out here for the cause. What's called? Yeah. Cheyenne, what's up, man? Cheyenne Longfoss. Fox, he says, "What's up, gentlemen? Good to be here as always." Yeah, thanks guys for being here, man. We've have 168 people in here right now. Just talking Jaguars, ready as hell for the season to start. You know what I mean? And just get the preseason. You know what I mean? I do like preseason. I just hate the preseason overreaction. You know what I mean? And we didn't get that last year. And it's just, and honestly, like, as bad as the Jaguars have been this preseason, like, if we go out and win week 1, I mean, it's, we're going to forget it all happened.
I was about to say, what are the chances we go out and win week 1 and all of a sudden everyone's talking? The same people on Twitter that were like, Urban sucks, are going to be like, you know what? I think we're going to make the playoffs this year. I think Trevor's the truth. Urban's the truth. And just like that, they're all going to flip after a week 1 win at Houston.
Dude, it's I mean, it's annoying. I mean, like that's the thing. Like the whole Urban Meyer, like the whole Urban Meyer doesn't know what he's doing is in over his head. It's like, come on, man. Like, we're in week 2 of a preseason running vanilla offenses, and it's so annoying. Like let's wait. I mean, Urban Meyer could turn out to not be the guy, not be the answer, but we can't be sitting here like drawing these crazy conclusions in week 2. Like, these games, like there's all this strategy going into these games and we're trying to win. It's just, it's unreal.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same. You're not going to get the same level of like fight out of a Urban Meyer team in preseason that you would of like maybe a Doug Marrone team that's like win at all cost, win breakfast mentality. So Urban's more like, no, I'm not going to show the other team my plays, and we're going to come out week 1 and we're going to win that game. So I think it's just 2 different philosophies.
Yeah. I do want to bring up a point to you after this super chat. Shout out to Lucas Agnew with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Says, let's raid Lambo's Twitter and tell him we believe. I mean, he's gone after it on Twitter with people before, so he'll definitely read it. I kind of stay out of players' mentions like that. I don't even follow a lot of the players on Twitter just because, I hope they stay off of it. So, I mean, if you guys want to do that, Lucas threw in a $5 super chat so we can promote it. But, you guys do it. I'll stay over here. How about that? But I want to bring up something to you, man, because one thing that I feel like this team is missing, and it's going to be hard to get, but like a lot of the good teams out there, like they have like guys that are like top 5 at their positions. They have like all pros. Like when you look around at these Super Bowl teams, like Chiefs were loaded with all pro type players. The Buccaneers have all this talent. Even guys like, like the Packers who are the NFC Championship have Devontae Adams and all this stuff and good offensive linemen. Like we need to start really getting guys that are bona fide like superstars at their position. And I used to be a guy like when the Seattle Seahawks traded for Jamal Adams, I'm like, man, 2 first-round picks, like that's a little bit rich. But at the same time, man, like they are literally trading for a guy that's like, top 3 at his position, arguably maybe even the best at his position. I don't watch enough of his film to really know, but it's like, I mean, you look inside of the division, the Colts have, Quentin Nelson, who's like the best guard. They were a team that traded draft assets for a guy like DeForest Buckner. That's a complete destroyer. So, like, we need to start either getting guys on a roster right now and develop them into that, or going out and finding guys. But, it's going to be hard to do if you're not, drafting top 5, top 10.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, I think the goal was to those guys we drafted in the top 10 to beat that, looking back all the way to Leonard Fournette, Blake Bortles, Jalen Ramsey, all of these guys were drafted. Josh Allen, CJ Henderson, guys drafted in the top 10, you hope to become a top 3 player at their position. And it just hasn't panned out. All the names I mentioned have all different stories and all different things, but we're stuck now with maybe Miles Jack. You could maybe make an argument that he's all pro level. Maybe. I mean, he had a really good year last year. But yeah, you're right. I mean, just the draft picks have just gone south, and maybe CJ Henderson develops into a top corner. But yeah, I mean, it's just if you're not hitting on your draft picks and you're not going out and spending a gross amount of money in free agency, then yeah, you're not going to have any top 3 to 5 players in the league. And, we haven't done either one of those things. So I think that's your answer right there.
Man, it's just rough because I mean, you see I mean, I used to hate, going out there and being like, oh, like if we were on the other end of a Jalen Ramsey trade, we're giving up first-round picks. But it's like, man, like, I mean, the Rams won that trade. I mean, I can call right now. I mean, like, they got like the best cornerback in the game. And I used to be like, oh, it's just a cornerback. And like with Jamal Adams, like, oh, it's just a safety. But man, like, you need to bring in guys, and it doesn't really matter what position they play. If they're like, an elite player at that position, sign them. And then you're going to fill out the other spots like later on. And like, I started this channel. I think I was like 22 years old when I started this channel. And now I'm like, 27. So like my football mindset is really, it's just like evolving a lot. And that's one thing that I've really changed about my perspective, even just in the last couple of years. It's like, I don't care what position they are. Like if you draft the guy and if they're elite, like sign them and, keep them on your roster.
Yeah, for sure. And, we've had some, like I said, we had some bad luck with, the whole Tom Coughlin era, losing all those players. But yeah, now we're rebuilding, we got Urban. I'm glad we're doing it. It is good to have players. I mean, you can look at some bad teams. Some bad teams have good players too, though. It takes more than just that. The Texans had Deshaun Watson. I guess they were good. So it's a bad example, but the Panthers have Christian McCaffrey. Like, there's good players out there that are on bad teams. You got to kind of stack some together. But man, you're right. This team is just so deprived of like talent that it's hard. Trevor, I think Trevor's our best chance. Trevor's probably our best chance of being a top 3 player at his position. So now we just wait and see. That's all we can do.
But even you mentioned just Deshaun Watson right now. I mean, Deshaun Watson was a top 5 quarterback last year, and the team was like 4-12.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I guess a lot of that also has to do with really bad coaching, and you need a good coach, a head coach, quarterback duo. But there was just no talent out there, for Houston. Like there was, I don't know how much JJ Watt did last year. They had just traded away DeAndre Hopkins. It's like, that's a big next step. We're hoping. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like we're seeing guys hopefully grow into themselves, and we're seeing some early struggles when it comes to Walker Little and like Tyson Campbell, but they're not showing that they're like busts. They're just showing that, look, like, Tyson Campbell needs to locate the ball a little bit better. Walker Little needs to get adjusted to the NFL bull rush. And, at the end of the day, we should be all right. Real quick shout out to James Huggins. He donated $5 with nothing to say. Then he donated another $5 with, who do you think will be the next player in the pride of the Jaguars? Maurice Jones-Drew.
Is he not in it already?
Not in it yet. I think he'll get it soon. But the weird thing is, like, all the guys on the pride of the Jaguars, like, they never gave out their number again. Like, you know, after Mark Brunell, they never gave away number 8. Tony Baselli, 71. Mark Brunell, or not Mark Brunell, but Fred Taylor, 28. Jimmy says 82. And they were doing the same exact thing with Maurice Jones-Drew. But then this year they give out his number for the first time since Maurice Jones-Drew to Tyson Campbell. So it's like, you know, that'd be a little weird if Maurice Jones-Drew goes into pride of the Jaguars this year, right when they reassign his number. I don't know. I don't know if that was confirmation that, okay, we can go ahead and give this number out if he's not going to get in it or what.
So they haven't, I'm trying to think, they haven't given out any of those numbers, 28 or 8?
No.
Wow.
82, no 82s, no 71s, no 8s. What's called the Rayshon Jenkins was a number 8, but he was like, yeah, I guess there's a, you know, they had the quarterback Mark Brunell, so I can't have the number. like, you know, like he doesn't know anything about you know, Mark Brunell, but yeah, he couldn't get that number because of that, or else he would have been number 8.
He looks good in 2, I think.
Yeah, I think he looks good.
He's a fitting number for him.
Yeah, but now these single digit numbers, man, they're you know, they're gonna start with these seasoned veteran punters, they're gonna start coming out their heads for the single digit numbers. Like isn't Logan Cook, he's like number 9 or something, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get a first round wide receiver next year, and all of a sudden, you know, that number's gonna be surrendered. You know, he's gonna hand him a money bag, and the numbers over.
Yeah, punters are gonna go back to the mid 90s numbers.
Dude, I love punters in the 90s, like the college football punters and kickers weren't in the 90s.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But all right, guys, I think we're gonna end it here soon, man. Actually, probably right now. So thanks everyone for being here. Thanks, Jason, for coming in here. Guys, I put Jason's links, all his links down below. And I imagine you're probably going to be doing a film breakdown on your channel soon.
Yeah, probably tomorrow. Who knows? I've been on, I don't know. I've had the itch to stream on Twitch the last like couple of weeks. So I've just been doing that. And I'm like, what am I? It's been fun. I don't know. It's just been fun.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know anything about Twitch. So, you know, go contact him for that because I don't know a lot about Twitch.
Yeah, it's just Jags United on Twitch. So
okay, there you go. But I got his other ones. I got his Twitter and YouTube link down below. So go check him out. But yeah, thanks everyone for being here. Versaz is in here. David Bryan threw in a super chat. So did Lucas. So thank you guys so much. But all right, guys. Until next time, man. I do have a pretty big announcement coming to the channel tomorrow. So just stay tuned for that. And yeah, man. Thanks guys all so much for being here on Spend Your Wednesday Night with us, and we're out.